It's Keith with Longwell Technologies. I've been working with small businesses for years, and one of the common questions that comes up is, should we look at an Android or iPhone for our business needs? And so we're going to talk to you about that, in particular in relation to small businesses. Uh, for general use, for your personal use, use whatever you want. But for business, there's some decisions in that process that you want to be thinking about. One of the things is this going to be, are you putting together an app that goes out to the general public? That's something that you want everybody to download. It's the next Uber, it's the next Netflix, it's the next whatever, and you want all of the users you can get to download it. Well, answer's easy. You want it for both Google and iPhone, for Android and iPhone for that. But if you're a small business and you're making an app or buying an app or getting an app to use for your small business, that's a little different scenario. And there's three things you really want to consider there. First one, price. Pretty obvious. The more devices you buy, the more expensive it's going to be. Android has devices that start at $50, and you can get like most of those aren't going to be that good, but they can go up to $700,000, $800,000, $2,000 devices. iPhone has all their devices are high end. They're all premium. They're considered premium devices with high quality everything, and so those are at a premium. I believe the latest model is about $1,000. So you want to keep that in mind as you're multiplying that out. Do you need one or two? Do you need five? I work with some businesses where they got 40 some devices for their employees, and the company buys them. So if you're buying those and they're a couple $100 each, versus if you're buying 40 of them at $1,000 each, significant price. Android has that price range, like I said, about $50. $50. I mean, you can get this is the Amazon Kindle, and that actually, I bought that for my wife for Christmas last year, and just kind of check it out and see how it was, and it's supposed to be pretty good. I'm quite impressed. It doesn't have a phone capability on it and stuff for cellular internet, but good device for $50. Mostly you're probably going to want something that's going to be $100 to $150 to start with, typically, unless you're going with something like that. But you can get those through the different carriers. You can get them at your electronic stores. So then, what's the differences between those? So that brings us to point two. Features. Do you need a high-end camera? What type of features do you need for the type of work that you do and that your people are going to be needing the devices? Are they needing a camera? Do they need a camera at all? Do they need a high-end camera? Do they need, so like your iPhones are going to have the really top-end cameras. If you're buying the spectrum of Android, you can get a low pixel or high megapixel cameras, depending upon what you're needing and how much you're willing to pay and what you want. Then there's other features, though, such as does it need to be rugged? For example, I've got customers that I work with where they need something, they're in Canada, and they're working outdoors in winter. It's cold. So they need something that's going to handle that cold temperature. As well as other customers who they work in Phoenix, so the middle of the desert, in the middle of the summer, it's 110 degrees, and they're working outside on an air conditioner. They need something that's going to be rugged, something that's going to handle high, low temperatures. Do you need a device that offers that? Do you need something with that can do a scanner with a laser barcode scanner or RFID? Android, you can get devices. Do you need a keypad, a physical keypad on? Is that going to make it better for your guys? There's Android devices that offer features like that with scanners. This is a barcode scanner on there. The full keypad, rugged, handles super cold, super hot temperatures, RFIDs options, things like that, which you may or may not need. But if you need those, they're not as easily available on an iPhone devices. You can buy, like, I believe they got like ring scanners and things where you can do a barcode scanner as a separate Bluetooth device, but then you're holding the one device and you're trying to scan with another. You can use the camera if you're not doing very many scans and your barcode is something you need, and you're not doing many. There's the capability to do a barcode scanner with the camera. And typically that's 2 to 5 seconds for a scan on that, which if you're just doing a couple a day, not a big deal. But I've worked with a number of retail companies, and when they're scanning hundreds of items at a time. They're going around the shelf, scan, 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 scan. In that case, they need something like this one where it's got the actual laser barcode scanner, and it can scan about 2 per second as opposed to 1 per 2 to 5 seconds. And if you're doing a lot, you need that. So the features and difference with the Android benefit there is you can go with multiple devices. That doesn't have to be one. So you can go on a lower end device for some of your users, and some of your users that need the barcode scanners or they need something more rugged, you can put them on a higher end device so that you can balance out your pricing. And then the third thing you want to consider is the time to release it to your users. So for example, about a week or so ago, had a customer that they needed some changes, and they needed changes put in ASAP. They wanted it in about 3 to 4 days. So first off, we had to look at it and say, can we make these changes to the program in that window of time? Looked at it, evaluated it, and okay, we could do that in about 2 to 3 days. Put it together, test it, go through the whole cycle. You test, and then you make adjustments if there's things, and then you go through. Anyway, go through this whole process, and then put it out there. And then you put it out into the iTunes or the Google Play for it to go to the end users for them to use it on their device. So there's a big difference there, though. iTunes takes 5 to 14 days from the point where it gets pushed into the store that the developer is saying it's ready to go, to the point where the user can actually download it. With iTunes, it's about 5 to 14 days, averaging probably about 7 to 9. Whereas the Android is 1 to 2 hours. So because this customer was using Android, we were able to make it out to them in that 4-day time frame. If we had been using the iTunes, we would have had it done in 3 days, but it would have been 5 to 14 days beyond that when it would have gone out. So sometimes there's crisis and things need to go out immediately. Sometimes it's a bug fix. Sometimes it is a company new direction. Sometimes it's some sort of change in understanding of a federal or local law that can cause codes to have to changes in the code or rules of program to go out. So anyway, those are the 3 things that when I talk to businesses about what type of device to go with that I talk about. We look at price. If you're buying 1 or 2 devices, or if the individual's buying their own device, it's bring your own device, not the company supplying them. Big difference in price ranges there, and what you might want to offer. Features: do you need some of your users to have the rugged devices? Do they need outdoor? Do they need some of these other things, or not? And then the third is how long it takes from the point where it's coded to the point when the end user can put it onto their computer or onto their tablet or phone. Those are the 3 things that I always talk to our customers about deciding which device they would use. I hope that will help you in your decisions.